We're heading over to the elevator shaft that is adjacent to Mare Island Way to kind of give you an explanation of why the parking structure is still closed to the public. In January of this year, we had some fairly significant rainstorms where we had blowing winds, and as the storms progressed, we noticed water blowing into the elevator shafts, and as a result of that, the water had flowed down into the elevator shaft and shorted out some electrical equipment. We were able to get the electrical equipment repaired, but more importantly, it was how do we address the wind-driven rain and preventing it from getting into the elevator shaft in the first place. I think if we go over here to the elevator shaft, I can kind of show you where the problem lies. Today's fairly typical day. Wind's blowing from the west, and on a winter rainstorm, we get rain blowing in this direction. And as you can see, we've got an open area for the users of the parking structure to access the elevator. And prior to the installation of this piece of metal here, wind and rain was blowing directly against the elevator doors and causing water to flow underneath the door seal and into the elevator shaft. After we reviewed the design and consulted with our designers, we determined that what we needed to do was to provide a windscreen both at this location, and I'll show you upstairs, and at the other elevator locations, some protection from the elevator doors to prevent the water from being driven into the elevator shaft by the rain and the wind. All the concrete itself is sloped away, so if rain hits the ground, it flows away from the elevator itself. But what we were experiencing is the wind-driven rain hitting the elevator doors and then flowing into the shaft. So this, what you're seeing here is a primered frame for the windscreen. There'll be glass installed, tempered glass installed inside the frame, and it will be painted to match the exterior of the parking structure.
And that's the reason for what now we're at, what, 6-month delay?
Well,
close to it?
This looks like a fairly simple piece of structure, but as we go upstairs, you'll see that it's a little more elaborate. This particular one is fastened onto a concrete slab. The other windscreens and canopies that were installed had to be fastened onto post-tension concrete slabs. We had to ensure that we weren't, as we designed this, that we not only were not going to cut the post-tensioning cables that are in the slab, but also provide...
What does post-tensioning mean?
When they poured the actual deck of the parking structure that the cars sit on, the elevated portions, they install steel cables. They place the concrete, and then after the concrete cures, they stretch the cables. These cables are under a tremendous load, and if you were to drill through one of them and cut the cable,
it would not end well.
It would basically potentially come out of the concrete and could injure somebody very significantly. So it obviously would affect the structural integrity of the slab. That's what provides the strength, is the tensioning in these cables. So the design aspect of these screens and canopies had to be such that we ensured ourselves that we weren't going to hit one of the cables as we installed them. We had to make sure that the design was compatible with the structure. This structure was reviewed by the design review board, and we had to ensure that we were in compliance with the guidelines of the design review board. So the
So basically a lot of hoops to jump through.
There was, and after all that was done and we concluded on a design, it was a 12-week lead time before we got any of this material from the fabricator. So that leads us to the installation started about the 1st of August, and they are progressing. It's, you know, the material has been installed. They're painting it and priming it, and the glass is being fabricated to be installed.
Right.
So that's and until this work is done, you know, the city won't accept the project from the contractor.
Secure the building.
Okay, I came in through the gate over there. So.
Oh, the gate, I'll leave the gate on the upside open.
Okay, thanks,
Okay.
Alder. We're going down now to the lowest level of the parking structure, and give you an idea of the size of what we're dealing with here. One of the features that I was impressed with is we have motion detecting LED lights throughout the structure, and as we walk, currently if you were to look out into the parking area, it's fairly dark, but as we walk, the lights will turn on by themselves and light up the area. We'll walk across to the other side and we'll come up the stairway to the upper level where we can look at the windscreens and canopy on the elevators along Santa Clara Street. Here's another one of our windscreens under construction, along with the canopy above the elevator.
Oh, I see. So they really didn't account for the kind of the moisture and the wind and the rain, huh?
It was definitely a design oversight. This is a good engineering solution. You know, we will have, we can't 100% waterproof it, but this will deal with the bulk of the water that is being wind driven into the elevator shafts.
Right, so you have drainage down there which can handle some of it, I imagine.
Well, we actually have a very robust drainage system and pumping system at the bottom of the structure. Underneath the entire structure is a drain system to handle any groundwater, a very elaborate 6-inch plastic pipe network that is all tied into a sump. All the surface drains throughout this level and all the subterranean levels are tied into the same sump. And we have two 40 horsepower electric motors that will discharge the stormwater or groundwater. They're set up on automatic floats, and they turn on sequentially as the water level rises, and so they're significantly over-designed to be able to handle the volume. And you know, we
a gale may blow, but the ship's not going down.
no, we've you know, we've tested the pumps and let the rainwater build up a little bit and turn them on, and they perform well. And so we're confident that we're not going to have a water problem. One of the design elements was to provide pedestrian access from the transit center to the ferry terminal. So we incorporated what we term as the paseo, and it's a walkway that we're over here on Santa Clara Street. We'll kind of walk out into the main area, bus transit center on Santa Clara, and the landscaped paseo connecting to the ferry terminal. Now, obviously this is a pedestrian area only, and to the left is the upper deck of the parking structure that is accessible from the Santa Clara Street side. Landscaping's coming in well. The paseo's been set up for if the city decides to have vendor carts out here. We have electrical hookups for the vendors if we choose to go that direction.
Okay, so it could be a little thing up here with like vendor, farmers market, or
we hope so.
All kinds of things.
We hope it gets well utilized. and we're approaching the grand stairway and kind of one of the nicer views of the structure leading out to the ferry terminal.
Well, it's a nice water view.
One of my favorites.